let's talk about food. Anytime you go out of the country, you're going to experience some interesting cuisine, probably. And prior to my mission, the most ethnic I probably got, really, was like takeout Chinese or salsa and chips, right? Like, I wasn't really exploring a lot of things. I wasn't a particularly picky eater, but I wasn't the type that was like, oh, thanks for the soup, Mom. Like, if she made something that I didn't like, it was like, I'm doing something else, right? So here I am in this country and, trying my best to not be picky. I've learned in the MTC, they teach you, if you're served it, you eat it, right? Whether it's something that's gross or whatever. Don't drink any coffee or don't, do anything like that. But, if it's, these people have sacrificed a lot to provide, and so you need to eat. And I remember in Peru, we had what we called a pensionista. And this was a person, I always had female pensionistas, but they cooked all of our meals for us. It was something that we just paid. They would provide meals, and most of the time we'd eat with their families. But they would provide the meals for us so that we didn't have to go purchase things and then, being, unintelligent strangers in the country prepare food that would ultimately just get us sick, right? So we had someone else that knew what they were doing to do this. And I remember my very first meal there was this plate of noodles with this green sauce called tallarines verdes. And it looked interesting, but it didn't look crazy, like weird. Like I was like, I can get into this. The flavor definitely tasted different than I'd ever tasted before. And, that was my first lunch. And I was really excited for lunch because it was just like, oh man, I'm tired. We've been tracking all morning and now I get to sit down and we can, enjoy this meal. So I experienced the meal and just go, oh, okay, well, maybe dinner will be a little different. Well, to my surprise, most of the time in every area that I was in, dinner was just what was left over from lunch. And so here I am showing up more tired. Now it's the end of the day. And here we have tallarines verdes once again. And I'm just like, oh dear, is this okay? Here we go. This is what it's going to be like to be in this country. So I did have that meal quite often in that pension. And every time we had it, it just became more of a delight. I was known as the elder that every meal they would have bread. They would just have these rolls that they would get, at the corner bakery or whatever. I was known as the elder that would take the bread. I would get some mayonnaise and just put whatever meat we were having, which was usually like this odd cut of meat, that they could afford, and just put it in the bread and kind of make this sandwich, right? And that was very foreign to these people that were serving me food. They're like, what are you doing? And to me, it was just like, this is helping me have the experience that I want. And, it's the only way that I'm going to be nourished through this, So I made a lot of sandwiches. There's a lot of great food down there. For me, it took a little bit of time to get used to the spices and things like that. But after a while, it was really, really just fantastic. Some of my favorite things, we would sometimes come across members that were cooking anticuchos, which was essentially, it's these cuts of meat. It's cow heart, and they would barbecue it and this special sauce or whatever, and then serve it up with potatoes and things. And usually, kind of in tandem, they would have these things that appeared like donuts called picarones. And so that was really great. But I had some great pensionistas throughout my mission. A lot of missionaries did not gain weight in those countries because they just, maybe didn't like the food so much. But I was fed very well. We ate a lot of rice, a lot of beans, put on some weight, and enjoyed it. There was we were encouraged not to eat food from street vendors. Most of the time we paid attention to that, but sometimes we had members that were selling food in the street. And we're like, oh, like how can we say no to these people? We trust them, right? They would be selling salchipapas, which is essentially just like street hot dogs with French fries. Lomo saltado was another meal that I really liked, and still, we've created that here in the house a couple of times with some Peruvian friends that have come to visit. Anyway, there's a lot of other different foods. I'm not going to try to list them or remember how to say them, but definitely came home with a greater appreciation for a couple of things. Exploring new flavors. I'm not as averse to doing that as I was. And hot, spicy food. Because sometimes we would just have these beans on rice and it was just very boring. And to spice things up, to make it interesting, was just like, let's just put on some of this hot sauce and just see what happens. And for the most part, we were okay. I did get sick, probably. Everyone gets sick when they get there initially. I did get sick for a day or two, which was not fun. We got food poisoning one time as a zone with the mission president, probably because of some bad mayonnaise that we all had there. That was another sick time. And the third time that I got sick, which I think was probably the last time that I was really not able to work sick, was following a visit to Domino's Pizza. And every time I see Domino's Pizza now, I just think, those Domino's guys down there, it was not a great moment. Had to exit a bus early. Fortunately, there was a little alleyway to duck into, and just let it all out. And my companion was just like, whoa, okay. So anyway, that's those are my food stories. So salud. C'est pas bon appetit. That is not what they say in Peru.